everyone, welcome back to my salon's channel. And if you are new here, my name is Soria and I own my own salon, which I am in currently, and I like to post hair videos. I am going to be posting a lot more videos coming up with more nails, makeup, and etc. So all kinds of beauty related videos, and sometimes I do sit down videos where I talk to you guys about stuff that I am very interested in. So I hope that you guys are subscribed so you don't miss any of my videos. But today I am going to be talking about healthy hair and ways that you go about achieving healthy hair. So having healthy hair is something that is really important, especially if you want to grow it out, or if you want to color treat it, or if you want to bleach it. So the base of any style or color or any haircut or anything is having healthy hair. So if you have damaged hair, it's hard for you to color it, or it's hard for you to grow it out if that's your goal. So what I want to talk about today are some ways that you can achieve healthy hair or maintain your healthy hair if you already have healthy hair, or if you just need a little bit of a push. So I have written down a few things that I'm going to go over today with you, and so I'm just going to kind of go over them lightly. And I do have a blog post on my salon's website where I go kind of more in depth on all the things you can do to achieve healthy hair. So if you want to check that blog post out, I will have it linked below. It'll be the first link in the description. So let's just jump right into the first way that you can get healthy hair. So number one is to get haircuts. So regular haircuts is gonna help you grow your hair. So a lot of stylists say this, and you might think it's just to get you in the door and to like get your money, but the basis of getting regular haircuts is to get rid of split ends. So what happens is when you have a split end, the hair, let me get rid of that. So when you have a split end, what happens to the hair, let's say the hair, like this is the hair shaft, and the hair splits like that. And what's going to happen is that the hair is going to continue splitting up the whole way up the hair shaft until it breaks off. So if you have split ends and you're like, oh my god, my hair doesn't grow, or my hair isn't growing, or my hair hasn't grown in like 2 years, it is probably because your hair is breaking off before you're seeing the length. So my recommendation is to get a haircut about every 3 to 4 months. This is going to help you get rid of your split ends so that actually you could see your hair growing and growing and growing. So when you have split ends, let's say, I'll show you here. So this is a little bit of a shorter piece of hair, but let's say it was split. Let's say this is just one strand and it splits up the hair, and it'll break off, making it look like your hair isn't growing even though it is growing. So your hair is continuously growing, but if your hair is splitting and breaking off, then it's gonna look to you like it's not growing. So getting haircuts definitely will help you with that. It'll get rid of the split ends, and it will help you see your hair growth, because your hair grows from the scalp. So obviously cutting it at the ends isn't going to magically make your hair grow from your scalp, but it does show you the length once you get rid of all those split ends. So that is the first tip on how to get healthier hair, and it is a very, very important one. The second tip that I have for you guys on how to achieve healthy hair is to try to stay away from your heat tools as much as you possibly can. So I know this is hard, especially for those of us that love to style our hair, or you know, that have curly hair and want to have it straight, or you know, have straight hair and want to curl it every day so it looks nice and presentable. But it is very important to try to get away from using heat tools every single day, or you know, as much as you've been using them. So what I recommend is to let your hair air dry, or you can use your blow dryer, because your blow dryer isn't like, especially if you're just like rough drying it, you're not putting as much heat on the strands, you're kind of just getting rid of the moisture. So my recommendation is, if you can let it air dry, let it air dry. That's going to be the best way to kind of promote healthy hair. And then if you have to use a flat iron or like a straightening tool or a curling iron, I suggest to use it once or twice a week and to lower the temperature. So that's another one. Usually cheaper hair tools don't have a heat setting, like temperature wise. They maybe have like a low, medium, and a high setting, and if you could try to get away from using those specifically, because you cannot control the temperature. So I suggest using a medium to lower heat. Obviously that's gonna help, but getting hair tools that actually have a temperature on them is really important. That way you can actually know how much heat you're putting on your hair. So staying away from like the over 300 degrees Fahrenheit area, you want to stay away from that. So I would say to try to keep it under 300 degrees. Don't go over your hair multiple times, and use a heat styling product. There are some that are like sprays, some that are serums, and usually you put that on your hair when your hair is damp or when it's wet before you blow dry. And if you are using a flat iron, your hair needs to be dry or else you will crisp your hair. And don't put any products in your hair and go in with your flat iron, because it's gonna like fry your hair. So put the products in when your hair is damp, blow dry it or let it air dry, and then go in with your heat tool like a flat iron or a curling iron to curl it or straighten it. So the best thing to do is maybe style it you know, the first day after your wash, and try to keep that style for the next 2 or 3 days. That way you don't have to wash your hair as much, and that way you don't have to put as much heat on it, like styling it every single day. So that is number 2. Number 3 is to do at-home treatments or going to the salon. If you can afford to go to the salon and get hair treatments, then doing it that way. So just doing treatments on your hair is super, super nice. It's going to like bring moisture into your hair. It's going to condition your hair, especially if you are doing heat tools. So treatments like the macadamia oil conditioning treatment or the Moroccan oil treatment, anything, usually it comes in a pot and you kind of have to scoop out product. That is a conditioning treatment. There are also some treatments that come in like little packs, and I've seen them at like Walmart or CVS. They're like in little packs that is just like a single serve use. So those are very nice for your hair. They will condition and just treat your hair. So for any specific problem that you're having, there usually is a product that is targeting that problem. So the way I like to apply these products is on dry hair. So that'll just kind of soak it in a little bit better. So what I like to do is apply this treatment or the conditioning treatment or like the deep conditioner. All these names are just the same thing. It's a treatment. So you're just gonna apply it to dry hair, wrap your hair up, put it in a clip. Maybe if you have like shower caps, put it in a shower cap. So just let it sit for 30 minutes to an hour, as long as you can before you wash it out. And that's gonna help coat all the hair, and that's gonna help make it work a little harder for you. So then when you are done with your 30 minutes or an hour of having it in your hair, then you're gonna go and wash it and condition your hair as normal. And then the other way to use it is to go in the shower, wash your hair, and then put in your conditioning treatment instead of a conditioner. That's another way you could use it. Either way is fine. You'll get a little bit more punch from using it dry, like on your dry hair, than on wet hair, because then you rinse it out pretty quickly, as opposed to having it kind of like soak into your hair. So I do not recommend using coconut oil on your hair. It does make your hair softer, but it's because it's putting a coating over the hair strand, but the molecules are too big to actually penetrate into the hair shaft. So I suggest just buying a treatment. You can get it at CVS or Walmart. You can get some at Sally's. So you could also buy products at a salon or get the treatment done at a salon. So all of these options work fine, and it's just nice to kind of treat yourself. Maybe do it, if you are doing it at home, maybe do it on like a self-care night or your spa night. So put your products in your hair, let them sit, maybe do your nails, do a facial, do an at-home facial, or like a mask on your face as well. So kind of make it like a whole thing if you want to do it that way, and it's just relaxing and nice, and it's good for your hair. So that's my third tip on how to have healthy hair. So going into number 4, so this one's a little bit more in depth. So this is taking supplements. So there are many supplements out there that you could take for healthy hair. My favorite are the ones that are like hair, skin, and nails, like biotin. There's generic brands. There's, you know, all kinds of different vitamins that you can take to kind of promote healthy hair and have your hair grow. So if you are interested in kind of taking a vitamin, and those that are like geared towards hair, skin, and nails will help you grow your hair, have nice skin, and make your nails kind of thicker and harder and grow more. So it's kind of a 3-for-1 when you look at it that way. And usually you could pick up biotin at like CVS, or you can even get it online on Amazon. So it's up to you how you want to do that, but that's another tip that is really great to grow your hair if you want to have that growth. Number 5, I think we're on number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, yes. So so the 5th tip that I have is to avoid the urge to go blonde. So I know this is hard, especially for people that like to be blonde, or if you want to change up your hair. Just in general, bleaching your hair, so lightening your hair, is going to damage your hair. Usually coloring your hair, even if it's like your natural color, if you're just going from brown to brown, or you are trying to cover grays, you know, whatever the case is, putting chemicals on your hair that are changing the structure or the color are going to damage your hair. That's just the nature of the beast. So if you want to avoid extra damage and you have good hair and you like the color, then I definitely would suggest to avoid coloring or bleaching your hair. Now obviously that's not going to be possible for everyone, especially people that like to change their hair color, or you know, people that are maintaining their blonde, or you know, whatever the case is. I mean, that's just something you could do. You could avoid, you know, bleaching it or coloring it, because chemical services are going to damage your hair. That's just how it is. So I know that's kind of a hard pill to swallow, but there it is. Moving on to number 6, not washing your hair every single day is another way to kind of have a little bit of a healthier scalp and hair. So when you have a healthy scalp, you have healthy hair. So when it comes to not washing your hair, I know this is another one that it's really hard for people to like follow through with, and it just takes a little bit of time, and getting your hair used to that kind of routine is going to be a little bit of a like learning curve. But not washing your hair every day is very good for your hair, no matter what anybody else says. It is. So you know, there's some people that I know try to not wash your hair for like 2 days or 3 days or 4 days or 5 days. So whatever you can do, any little bit helps. So what's happening when you are washing your hair every day, you are just stripping your hair of all the natural oils. So what happens is you take the oils out of your hair every single day with your shampoo, and if you're using cheap like drugstore shampoo, it's even worse because you're drying out your scalp even more. So try to avoid that. But so you're removing all this oil, so your scalp, which is skin like any other skin, it's gonna say, you know, oh my god, I don't have any oil, let me make more oil. So washing your hair every day will make your hair oilier because your scalp is super dry and it's trying to combat that dryness with making more oil. So having a dry scalp can give you dandruff, it can give you like flakes, and it could just be uncomfortable, especially right now in the winter months when, you know, up north it's really cold. So it's just better to not wash your hair every day. Now if you could go 1 day in between washes, even that's going to be better than washing it every single day. So it's up to you how long you want to go between washes, and I have another video where I talk a little bit more about that, and I will link that one below as well. But just try to change it up a little bit. You might be surprised how you know, how it is. Also it's going to be a little bit different for different hair textures. So if you have straight hair, the oil kind of slips down the hair a little bit faster, and you might feel like it's getting oilier if you don't wash it. Let's say if you skip 1 wash day, the next day you're gonna think, oh my god, my hair's so oily. It's just because your scalp, let's say your scalp is here and this is a hair, 1 hair coming out of the scalp. Since your hair's straight, the oil has it's just easier for the oil to like slide down the hair, as opposed to curly hair, which is like a coiled or wavy, you know, any kind of textured hair. What's happening is it's taking longer for the oil to kind of go around the coils in the hair. So usually that's why people that have curly hair or wavy hair can go a little bit more time in between washes, as opposed to people that have straight hair and they, you know, the oil just slides right down the hair shaft. So using products like dry shampoo are also going to be really nice for, especially for people with straight hair, to try to you know, be able to skip a day or two in between washes. So those are just some tips on that, but I do have that other video where I go a little bit more into depth, and I'll have that linked below. So number 7, this is a really easy one that literally anyone can start picking up right away. This tip is to not brush your hair when it is wet. So think about the hair like if it was pasta. So dry hair is dry pasta and wet hair is cooked wet pasta. So you know that dry pasta is hard. It doesn't like, if you try to like rub at dry pasta, nothing's gonna happen to it. So compare that to dry hair. You can brush it all you want. It's stronger when it's dry. So when it's wet, think of a wet noodle and how easy it is for you to cut through the noodle and kind of like tear through the noodle. Let's say if you were brushing a noodle, it's going to be really fragile, really easy to damage. So when you're brushing out wet hair, especially with a brush, you can be tearing at your hair, tearing at the cuticle. So doing this will cause damage, frizz, and breakage. So that is what you don't want to do in your hair. So what I suggest doing is when you are washing your hair, you have your conditioner in there, go in and finger comb it. If you have curlier hair, it's going to be a little bit different. So this is kind of like for straight or wavy hair, just finger comb your hair. Make sure you don't have like any humongous like knots, but then let your hair air dry. And then when it is dry, then you could comb it. If you are gonna comb it when it's wet, I suggest using a wide tooth comb that is not gonna like yank and pull at your hair when you are combing it, or using a wet brush. So when you have something like a wet brush, so this is a wet brush here, the bristles on it are really flexible. So I know you can't see it, but the bristles are really flexible. So if it encounters a knot, it'll just kind of bend away and it won't yank at your hair. So if you don't have a wet brush, I definitely recommend them. I think you can get them at like Sally's. I think I've seen them at Sally's, and they're not that expensive. And those are really great. But if you don't have a wet brush, then I suggest not brushing it, not combing it with like a fine comb, using a wide tooth comb. And then when it is dry, then you could go in and work out the knots. Now for curly hair, I suggest using a wide tooth comb with conditioner in the shower. So when you're in the shower, using a wide tooth comb, maybe going in with your fingers first, trying to get the big knots out, then go in with a wide tooth comb. That way you can kind of like, you know, work any other knots that are in there. So if you are going to detangle it when you're out of the shower, put in leave-in treatments or leave-in conditioners. That's also going to help give it a little bit of a slip, so you're not like pulling and yanking at your hair. So those are just really easy tips that anyone could follow at any moment. So don't brush your hair when it's wet. So another tip that goes in with while you're in the shower washing your hair, I suggest to wash your hair with cooler water, so not using boiling hot water like if you're washing your body. So what I suggest to do is to tie up your hair while you're showering, so that it doesn't, like the hot water doesn't get on your hair, and then maybe washing it with a little bit of lukewarm water or cold water, colder water if you can handle it. Maybe like sticking your head, kind of like angling it at the shower, like the water's coming down. So what happens when you use hot water is the hot water opens the cuticle of the hair. So let's say this is a hair shaft and this is the cuticle laying flat when it's dry. So when you're adding steam or heat into the hair, the cuticle is going to start lifting up. So think of this as like scales on top of the hair going the whole way to the ends. So when you apply that heat, it's going to open up the cuticle like this. And if you have color in your hair, if you have toner, what's going to happen is the cuticle is going to open and the heat will draw out the color molecules that are in your hair. So it's going to get rid of your color way faster. So if you've ever noticed, after after you color your hair, the next few washes, if you're using hot water, you're gonna see a lot more of that like color going down the drain. So if you're spending, you know, hundreds of dollars on your bleach and tone or your color, or you know, covering your grays, and you're washing your hair with hot water, what you're doing is just washing the color right out and down into the drain. So keep that in mind when you're using hot water. You don't use hot water. So using lukewarm or cooler water will help keep the cuticle closed. So doing that will preserve your color or your toner, and it will also help with frizz. So frizzy hair is caused by the cuticle being lifted, and it gives that effect like roughness when it's lifted up. So if you use a little bit of cooler water, it'll actually keep your cuticle down and closed, and it'll make your hair seem smoother. So the next little tip for healthier hair is to brush your hair before you go to bed. So usually people brush their hair just when they're styling it, let's say in the morning, or, you know, if they're getting ready for work or whatever, you know, whatever the case is. Usually people comb their hair or brush their hair once a day. So what I suggest to do is, if you could brush it 2 or 3 times a day, that would be even better. But try to get into the habit of brushing your hair at night. And for straight hair, that's pretty straightforward, easy to the point. You just brush your hair before you lay down and go to sleep. And for curly hair, if your hair is dry and you have it styled, then don't brush your hair at night, because you'll just like frizz it up. So what I suggest to do is maybe give yourself a little bit of a scalp massage before bed for the curly girls. I mean, you can do this if you have straight hair too, but when it comes to brushing, you don't want to brush, you know, your curled, like your hair that's curled, and if it's styled, and if you want your style to last a couple of days, you don't want to brush your hair. So maybe giving yourself a nice scalp massage before you go to bed would really help as well. So what brushing your hair does is it's going to distribute the oils in your hair. So the oil obviously comes from your scalp, and the roots are where, you know, you get oily the most quickly. So what you're doing when you're brushing it is you're distributing that oil kind of down the hair shaft, and it'll keep your hair nice and moisturized, and it'll kind of help distribute the oil, so it's not like right on your roots only and you're just like, oh my god, it's so greasy and gross. Another tip to do is, if you do have extremely greasy hair and you're trying to push back your wash day, like maybe 1 day or 2 days, is before you go to bed, brush your hair and then apply a little bit of dry shampoo into your like scalp root area. So what that's gonna do, it's gonna soak up the oils while you're sleeping, so that the next day you don't have to apply a ton of like dry shampoo, and you know, because your hair's super greasy, because doing it the night before kind of works it in through the night, and then in the morning it'll look a little bit more fresh. So that's another really easy tip that you could do if you do have like oilier hair and you are trying to go a couple of days between washes. So the last tip that I have for you today is to use salon grade products. So a lot of hair products that you get at the drugstore or at Walmart or at Target, those products are not the same as salon professional salon products. So a lot of those cheaper products are going to have sulfates and parabens and silicones. So silicones aren't always bad, they're just bad. They're like worse when you're combining it with the other two things, so sulfates and parabens. Sulfates are agents that are going to dry out your hair, so a lot of this stuff is coating your hair, and it's going to create buildup, and it's just going to make your hair easier to be damaged, especially when you're using hot tools. Because if you have, so silicones are like plastic, and if you're coating your hair with layers and layers and layers and layers of products like that that have that plastic in your hair, and then you're flat ironing it, you're just kind of heating that plastic up in your hair, and it's going to cause damage. So what I suggest doing is going to places like Sally's or at beauty salons. Most beauty salons sell products that you can buy, going for products like Biolage or Matrix, or you know, there's a ton. There's Euphoria, which is the product line, the styling line that I love. There's so many hair products that are amazing, and if you don't have a Sally's near you, you could order products off of Ulta, order online, literally anything. So I do suggest using salon professional products on your hair, especially shampoo and conditioner, because that is what's actually cleaning your scalp scalp and your hair, and you want it to not be adding more buildup to your hair. You want it to actually be cleaning your hair. So when you are adding your like styling products, so that's not also gonna build on top of the gunk and the buildup from your shampoo and conditioner. So as far as styling products go, I would just try to find something for your specific needs. So if you want shiny hair, get a serum. If you have hair that prones to be tangled, using a leave-in treatment, like a leave-in conditioner. Just try to target things, try to buy things that are targeted for your issues or your problems or what you want to fix. So those are my tips on how to achieve healthy hair. Now, I know some of these are going to be a little bit more difficult than others. Some of these are really easy and things that you can implement today in your routines or in your styling, you know, your daily styling. But I hope this helped you out. I hope this gave you some kind of insight on how stylists think when it comes to hair. It is really important to keep your hair healthy. This is, you know, it's on your head. Everyone can see it. It's something that, you know, us women take lots of pride in, and a lot of men too. So it's just something to keep in mind. These tips obviously aren't going to help every single person, but I'm sure you could find at least one or two things in this list that you can do to achieve healthier hair. So I will have the whole list of all the stuff I talked about in the description as well, just like in bullet points, and also my blog post where I kind of go into depth on these topics. So I think I talked about all of these in my blog post a little bit more in depth, so you can check that out if you are interested. So if you enjoyed this video and if it helped you out, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I am posting videos every single week on my channel here, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
Buy what I want, I don't want it. Do what I like, I don't like it. My life is a mess, screaming with boys.